Good afternoon and welcome to another edition of Education Telescope on Leadership TV. I am your host, Mariam Rabiu. The Minister of Education, Malam Adamu, recently urged the Nigerian Educational Research and Development Council, NERDC, to delete sex education from the basic education curriculum. That will be our discussion for today. Should sex education be removed from Nigerian schools? We will know in the second segment. In our second segment, an in-house analyst in person of Henry Ohemba will be joining us to analyze the topic. But for now, here are the news updates. Obasanjo says 20 million out-of-school children are a time bomb. Former President Olusegun Obasanjo has warned that the almost 20 million out-of-school children remain a fertile ground for breeding another insurgency in the country in the future. Obasanjo gave the warning during the opening of a two-day national summit on tertiary education reform organized by the Office of the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Honorable Femi Gbajabiamila. The former president insisted that no Nigerian child should be denied education for lack of means to do so. He said, for Nigeria to reach its potential and achieve the greatness it is capable of, it must invest in the people. Meanwhile, the president of the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, Professor Emmanuel Osodeke, at the summit, advised the Nigerian government to diminish the idea of floating a student loan as alternative funding for the universities. Osodeke also said charging exorbitant fees at the universities would put pressure on Nigerian parents and deny their wards access to university education. Reptile scare delays resumption in Benue University. The Academic Staff Union of University, ASU, in Joseph Saruwantaka University, Makurdi, formerly called Federal University of Agriculture, Makurdi, said their offices are not safe for immediate habitation as reptiles have taken over them. Chairman of ASU, Justum, Professor Ame Ejembi, who spoke to journalists in Makurdi, noted that the Congress met to review its NEC directive for the suspension of the eight-month-old strike embarked by the union, and that they resolved to resume work immediately. Ejembi said he has directed everybody to go to their offices except that the offices are not too healthy for them. Ejembi also pleaded with the government to do the needful so that unnecessary breaks in the educational system at the tertiary level can be avoided. Graduate Guidance Group links Nigerian graduates from UK with employees. A firm, Graduate Guidance Group (GGG), in partnership with 12 universities in the United Kingdom, has organized a talent hunt event in Lagos aimed at linking Nigerian graduates with prospective employers. The event, which was tagged NG Talent UK Educated 2022, serves as a platform for employers to meet Nigerian talents who have acquired international experience through UK education and willing to apply their skills in building their careers. Founder of the group, Emma Tarrant Tayo, said the program is to facilitate interactions between UK graduates and employees in Nigeria to network and get best talent for their organization. Tayo noted that UK universities are looking to support these graduates by linking them up with best employers in Nigeria to boost the country's economy. She explained that her firm has launched a mobile app called Career Fair Plus to digitize interactions between graduates and employers. Rotary trains 41 teachers on modern skills technology. The Rotary Club of Abuja has trained 41 teachers on modern skills, ideas, and techniques critical to the transformation of the country's education system. The charter president of Rotary Club of Abuja, Mr. Adeotun Amori, said the move became necessary to boost teachers' performances in line with global best practices. Amori spoke at a hybrid workshop on basic education and literacy organized for 41 teachers of Stella Maris Nursery and Primary School in Abuja. Stakeholders at the various lectures appealed to teachers to be creative to positively impact their students and raise productive adults. Covenant University leads Nigerian universities in 5 subject rankings. Covenant University Otta has emerged the only private university in the league tables, featuring prominently in business and economics, social sciences, computer science, engineering, and physical sciences at the just released Times Higher Education (THE) 2023 budget rankings. Analysis of the ranking showed that the university is leading other institutions in the country on these 5 subject disciplines. Chairman of Nigerian Universities Ranking Advisory Committee (NURAC), Professor Emeritus Peter Okebukola, who announced this in a statement, said it was a cheering news for institutions in Nigeria coming on the heels of impressive ranking of 12 Nigerian universities. Okebukola, who is also a member of the International Advisory Board of the World University Rankings, said in the 2022 rankings, only 5 Nigerian universities featured in 4 subjects. But in 2023 rankings, 48 institutions are cumulatively listed among the world's best in all subjects. That is all for today's news. In our second segment, we will review a topic about what Adam Adamu said about counseling sex education in Nigerian schools. Please do stay with us. We'll be back shortly after the break.
For sponsorship and advert placements, please contact 080-3688-6158. Last Word Leadership Podcast Studio. You have the last word. For sponsorship and advert placements, please contact 080-3688-6158. Last Word Leadership Podcast Studio. You have the last word.
Welcome back and thank you for staying tuned. As I said earlier, an in-house analyst in person of Harry Himba will be joining us in the second segment. Welcome, Harry.
Thank you, Mariam.
Thank you for joining me again today.
Okay.
As I said earlier, the topic for review today is the Minister of Education, Malam Adamu Adamu, recently urged the Nigerian Education Research and Development Council (NERDC) to delete sex education from the basic education curriculum. Now the question is, should sex education be removed from Nigerian schools? Harry, this question is directed to you. Should sex education be removed from Nigerian schools?
Well, thank you, that Mariam. First of all, let me begin by saying that sex education has been one heated conversation with a lot of conflicting opinions over the years. So many experts have argued for inclusion of sex education in the school curriculum, with while others have said that sex education shouldn't be included in the school curriculum. But in my opinion, I think sex education should be included in the school curriculum, giving it imperative in reshaping the conduct of the young children and helping them to take decision concerning the issue that concerns their own personal health. But when the Minister of Education, Maran Adamu, who was speaking at the 66th session of the National Executive Council on Education, recently urged the Nigerian Educational Research and Development Council to remove sex education from the school curriculum. The minister removed so many backlashes with some stakeholders urging him to rethink his steps and of saying that the sex education should be removed from the school. But the minister's views was based on the fact that Nigeria is a religious country where religious leaders, where values, moral values, and teach are being taught in the churches and mosques. So according to the minister, he said that parents should be in the right position to teach their children about sex education. But I think that will not solve the situation when we talk about sex education. It should go far beyond letting parents to handle over everything, but it should be in the hand of the school teachers who handle these kids on daily basis. They are in the right position to put them through the process.
Mm. Talking of teaching sex education in schools, does sex education, like, does teaching sex education in schools take it out of the home?
No, I don't think it's taking it out of the home. Sex education, I think, should be a collective action. It should be something that involves both parents and
And
religious leaders,
teachers?
teachers, and everybody in the society.
Yes.
Parents who are teaching or including sex education in the school curriculum does not mean that we are totally taking it away from the home. The parents will still have a role to play in this particular dimension. The teachers handle the other aspect while the parent, but what we are saying that you shouldn't be left in the hand of the parent alone, because most of the parents, some of them are not even educated. Some of them don't even know what is sex education. So somebody who don't know what is sex education cannot teach sex education to his or her own children. So it be something that is collective responsibility for all.
Also, I had a conversation with a parent, and the parent said children feel more comfortable discussing some issues with their teachers than them discussing with their parents. There are certain topics that you can't discuss with your parents at home, but when you get to school, you feel free to discuss with your teachers. I don't know, is there anything you can say about that? Is sex education included?
That can I hear your question again?
Okay. Some children feel more comfortable discussing certain issues with their teachers at school than their parents at home. Sex education inclusive. Maybe a child might be going through puberty or something, but that child will feel more free to talk to his teacher about what is going on than his parents.
Yes, I think I agree with that because I have had some situations. I have heard stories where by some girl. I've had story. This is a practical experience where a girl was pregnant. The mom was not even aware. The girl herself was not even aware that she was pregnant because she has not been taught through the process. It just came to her as a surprise. But if this is being taught in the school, there is a kind of confidence that teachers do establish between them and the people, the pupils they taught. But some of these parents, like some expert will say, going by the economic situation where parents will have to go or to leave, some parents will leave from as early as 6 and will come before they come back it's past 8. They don't even have time for their own children.
What steps do you think parents can take to improve or better enlighten their words about their sex life?
I think first of all, the student need to teach these children about the use of the dangers. Let me say the dangers of the internet, because some kids or some parents, for instance, will have come across some videos where parents will give, for instance,
Mm.
a 1-year-old phone because she was crying. She want to press the
Or
phone.
some parents even open a social media account for their child
Thank you. This
immediately they
is
are
the
born.
same point I'm trying to
Yes.
raise here. Some will give them phone because they're crying. They want to press the phone, and this phone are so detective. Sometimes things pop up on this screen that is not
Yes.
meant for the kids.
Yes, yes. Okay, sorry. So would you say, okay, you just spoke about the early access of internet, the danger of early access of internet to children. So the next question is, do you think parents and religious leaders are capable of teaching sex education?
Well, just like I've said earlier, this is a collective responsibility. It's not something that should maybe be handed over to the religious leaders or parents. For instance, on expert, remember when Minister of Education Malam Adamu said that in this in Abuja, there were so many criticism against the statement with the wife for the immediate past governor of Ekiti State, BC Fayemi, condemning the minister and criticizing that some religious leaders cannot handle or cannot teach sex education to some of the students. The the ex-governor's wife's argument was based on the fact that that in the current situation that we found ourselves in the country, about 20% of religious leaders that we know or we call them religious leaders are not what we think they are. Given the fact that some of them are there for business, some of them are not trained, some of them are just there for one or two reasons. So you cannot totally say that this case should be handed over to the religious leader to taught education. Some may teach them what you never expect. They may not put them through the right process. So I don't think it's not something that will say, okay, let's hand over to religious leaders and parents and put the teachers aside. The teachers should be critical part of this whole process.
The thing is, while growing up in an African home, I remember then my mom would always tell us that don't play with a boy, don't allow a boy to touch you. If a boy touches you, you will get pregnant or something. That's their own way of teaching their children about sex education without having to mention the word sex or something. You understand? So I don't know what, and it's also important too for schools to teach, just as you said, because some parents go to work and they come back late. The only time the children have is at school. They are at school from morning till some 4 o'clock, some 5 o'clock. So you see, they spend more time with their teachers at school. So I think it is very important for school to also teach sex education, not just at home. Even though some parents are also trying to make sure they teach their children too, but parents alone can't do that. Other
Sure.
people outside their homes have to intervene.
And talking about what you just said now, I just want to draw you to one record that I've come across before coming to this studio.
Okay.
Where they say that Nigeria carries 9% of the global HIV disease burden, which is the second largest in the world. And according to the World Health Organization, that Nigeria accounts for 19% of maternal deaths nationwide. And WHO study has also indicated that sex education programs that educate youth about abstinence and contraception do not lead to increased sexual activity. Neither do they encourage adolescents to engage in sex at a younger age. And it is in light of these circumstances that many Nigerians believe that information relating to sexual health life of students are very critical to be included in the school curriculum.
Curriculum. Okay, so what message would you most want to share with people who oppose inclusion of sex education in schools?
I think first of all, I want to let people all over know that sex education is a very critical topic. You know, there are some circumstances. Well, even in our senior classes, we already have topics like reproductive in biology, which are already centers on sex education. But sex education as a topic goes far beyond that. And I want to advise people or the critics of this particular subject that it goes far beyond allowing parents alone to handle this particular topic. It involves a collective action. And let me just draw your attention to what happened in recently in line with history. You know, when the federal government, I think in 2009 or 2010 academic session, remember that the federal government ordered the removal of history from the school
Yes,
curriculum,
history,
giving some
yes.
kind of reason that I can't remember now. But after some time, after the federal government got some kind of criticism, the same minister of education here, Madam Adamu, ordered that history should be restored. I think that was in 2019, and they have been working on they have been working on the process until just last week or so. The history has been able to restore
To be
back on the
restored
school
back.
curriculum. And the people who were criticizing government was based on the fact that any nation that neglects its history cannot explain any kind of a development and history, because you cannot tell me that there will be any kind of form of a development when you don't know the history of
When you
your
don't
own
know the
state.
history of your own
So,
state.
because of the criticism that federal government received from some stakeholders, they were able to come back, sit on the table, and brought back history. So the same thing may be applicable to the sex education we are discussing here. I think this is something that goes far beyond the Minister of Education sitting alone or in a public function announcing that sex education should be removed from the school curriculum.
Curriculum.
It's something that you need to involve stakeholders, experts in the field, who have knowledge on the subject to see together and deliberate the consequences or the advantage and disadvantage of this particular topic before coming out to make such kind of
to
public
make such
announcement.
decision.
Yes.
So I don't know. We all have different thoughts and different things to say about this particular topic. I've had people also arguing about it. I also had teachers talking about it also, because when I heard about it, I indulged the help of some teachers and some parents, which some teachers are totally against it. They said they would like to teach sex education to students because it is part of who they are. They are teachers, they impact knowledge. So counseling sex education is going to be like removing a part of them. Because why are they teachers? They are teachers because they teach, they impact knowledge, and they tell us what to do right, what is right and what is wrong. Also, some parents also said they need help of teachers to help their children grow, because most times they are always busy. But with the help of their teachers, their children will be able to excel in life. They'll be able to excel in life. So I think Mala Adamu should sit and rethink about this decision. Right.
Thank you for that.
You should sit.
I also even want to remind you, because apart from some criticism that Mara Adamu received against
Yes,
that
he
particular
received.
statement, I think even in our own leadership here, we published something like where over 50 civil society organizations condemn formally condemn Adamu for making such kind of statement,
Decision.
and also urge him to focus on more pressing issues, which include the issue of academic staff, university strike over the years. So
Yes.
tries and resolve it and leave some issue which, according to them, are not too important to them. Also, focus on addressing issues such as out of school children. You know what we're facing. Maybe in our next episode here, we'll be talking about the issue of out of school
Out of
children in the
school
country, where they
children,
keep
yes.
growing. Where, according to the present UNESCO statistics, we have over 20 million out of school this in the country. And when the minister took over initially, he said that he has tackled out of school children has gone down to just about 9 point something. But now, just few years for his administration to hand over power, we're hearing that out of school children have rise to a number of over 20 point
20
something million.
million,
So
yes.
I think these are critical issue that the federal government should invest more or lay more emphasis rather than
They are
trying to push something.
sensitive topics that should be gradually, that should be, how should I put it? That should be gradually taken care of. It's not something to rush into by
Yes.
making such a decision, because it's a sensitive topic that can affect our everyday lives. Let me use our everyday lives, including the parents, the students, and even the teachers. Because Allah Adamu has been so many criticism, from him saying appointing of 3 ministers to ASU to sex education.
And all those statements came up from the same public function
From-
that it was,
exactly.
and people had been
Yes.
accusing the minister of not coming out in public to address the Nigeria on issues that are facing the sector. Each time he come up in the public, he brought topic that will always generate controversy at the end of the whole thing. So I think before we round up, I think the final word to the Nigerian, I think there is a need concerning talking about the sex education. I think there is need for all hands to join together and tackle this trend together.
Yes.
It's not something that we have to abandon in the hand of the teachers alone or in the parents or the religious
Alone,
leader. It's
yes.
something that all of us need
Everybody.
to come together. I've had some situation where the parents or when we were growing up as kids, I could remember very well. An adult, I'm a boy, but there are some certain things you need to teach them at that
Yes.
age that some of them are not opportunity to even be in school at the age of, even in those days at the age of 4, 5. Some kids, I know some kids that will be going to school even primary 1 to at the age of 4.
Yes.
Forget that here we are in Abuja, but there are some villages that children at the age of 4 are still at home. So at that time, they don't have any single knowledge and they are not even in school. So I think that is when the parents need to come in to teach them some of the basic things that they need
Yes.
to know about sex education.
Must not be your parents alone, your teachers, even your neighbors. While growing up, then if we do something at home, my mom will not beat us. So she will personally send us to our neighbor's house. She will even call our neighbor, "I am sending this person to you. Deal with the person." That's how they will deal with us. So it's not just teachers, parents, or religion clerks. Even your neighbors, people around you, have to join hands together to tackle this situation. Oh, thank you for joining us on today's episode of Education Telescope. See you next week, same time. Thank you.
Thank you for watching. For sponsorship and advert placements, please contact 08036